Wake up, buy here, pay here people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhoads on the Buy Here, Pay Here Morning Show. Take it away, you two.
Well, good morning.
Hello and happy Wednesday.
Yeah,
It's a moving day.
it is.
Yesterday was
just a
Boxing
lot of
Day, not the
stuff.
Canadian version.
And,
but
it really helps an awful lot when we both end up with a pretty nasty cold in the process. And
yeah,
so
Michelle's came later, and so she was in pretty rough shape yesterday and the day before.
Yeah.
It's rallying today, it seems, but been a trooper. We're still packing and getting ready for the move. So
looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. And we're, we still are taking opportunities to just kind of talk about the things that are happening and pay attention to what's going on social and, and just being, hyper aware of the climate that we're experiencing right now.
Yeah.
And
it's going to be a bit of a separator for a lot of people.
I believe so.
That's been a topic of conversation. There was a particular thread in the BHPH success group that kind of inspired us to bring this particular topic around.
Yeah.
It's not a new angle for White Hat Way, but it's a hot button subject, which is why we need to get this conversation back out in front.
Yeah, I agree. It's it's been an interesting thing to see. There seems to be a very different camps on ways. Some of the things that are happening today are playing, or how people want to approach it. But so that sounds really cryptic. Let's talk about what our topic is today,
which is the customer journey.
Yes.
And really we also can share that we're rolling out a new track or theme in our podcasts, and that's going to be this whole thing about the buy here, pay here journey, which is going to be both the journey of the customer and the journey of the dealer. And I think we first have to, in order for that to be meaningful for anybody to tune in and be a part of those, is we have to kind of think first, do we feel like it is a journey? Like, this is part of what our theme is today, is like, there are some who think very near term, very transactional, get the payment in. And then there are others who, are prepared to play that long game we talk about in buy here, pay here. So this is really where it starts to separate. And I think when you refer to that thread, there was a thread where people were talking about, hey, our customers are facing this SNAP thing. They're not going to have their check at the 1st of November. And how are we going to deal with that?
Yeah.
And, Stephen Fusil is doing a podcast tomorrow. I don't know if you saw that.
He's
doing a kind of an emergency podcast
to talk about it with, multiple people. It's what's that platform? I can't remember what it's called.
Clubhouse,
right now.
Clubhouse,
I think. Thank you.
So that'll be an audio podcast tomorrow.
Yeah. So Jim and I, we were kind of watching this topic and how it was playing out. We've had conversations with people that we work with through White Hat Way where this topic has come up, and it's been like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. There's so many things about it that I just find fascinating. And I just, as we were starting the topic, one of the things that just downloaded in my head was during COVID, when everyone in the country was getting all the stimulus money, dealers were just like, this is great. This is the best thing ever. People are paying their bills. They're doing all the stuff. And there was some heartburn around the free money thing, but everyone was paying their bills. It was bank during a lot of COVID because people had the bandwidth to pay. And now we're hitting the exact pendulum opposite.
Yeah.
And it's just an interesting thing to watch, the reaction to this. And I just as we were sitting here, I was like, I'm seeing this pendulum swing of free money was great. When free money is taken away, it's or you know what I'm saying? I mean, because a lot of people believe in the concept of it's free money. Okay. and food benefits and all of that. It is a form of welfare, and it's, it's free money for those that are struggling. And let me preface this just really quickly. A long time ago, I had 2 children, very young. I mean, they were 2 and 3, and I went through a divorce, and I was on welfare for about a year until I got my feet back under my ground, underneath me. And so I was one of those that had to use food stamps. They weren't called SNAP back then. And so I was one of those that it was just like, I had nowhere else to turn. My parents were already helping me with rent and, that kind of stuff so that I could support myself. But there are a lot of people out there that rely on those things while they're getting their feet back underneath them. And I was one of those. Yeah. And it's just, there's like the spectrum of people that are using SNAP, of those that are taking advantage of the system and those that need it.
Yeah. And you also have military folks. You've got people who are in your own family, some of those same kids.
Well, and this isn't about SNAP, but it's about where we're at right now with government shutdown, all of the things. My oldest son is a military vet, just really struggles with PTSD to the point where he is on 100% disability. He doesn't leave his house very often at all. And I was over there visiting with him before we're leaving, and I was like, "How are you doing?" And he's like, I don't know if there's anything coming at all next month.
Right.
And so I don't know if I'm going to be able to make my mortgage. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do all of these things. And so, in my world, this goes deep. It's hitting at home with from my past and when I've had to rely on those programs, and with my son who's military, who saw some really horrendous things in Afghanistan and just still has nightmares about it. He was out there protecting and defending and all of the things, and I'm getting emotional about it, but it's like this whole thing is hitting people in a way that it has the elements of being catastrophic to them.
Yes. It's certainly at the minimum, it's a really difficult temporary setback. Unless we just believe the government's never going to get funded again and these people are never going to get their money, then
how many people are one paycheck away from homelessness?
Well, I know, but I think what I'm trying to get to in this conversation today is if we're on a journey, then this is just the latest batch of setbacks that affect. And I asked the question last night in a V8 meeting, like what, just scientific, because people can't know this for sure, probably in their system. But I asked them best guess, what percentage of your customers would be affected by a shutdown where these checks didn't get funded? And most of them guessed, if you just look at fixed income, it's probably less than 5% of people that are in their portfolio that are strictly fixed income on a Social Security, SSI kind of thing. But if you take into account the military and some of these other folks who somebody in the family may have a check withheld, then now you're at like 30 to 40%. They say.
And I want to say, because I've heard some people say that this is an underwriting thing.
Yeah.
The way the economy has been in the last year, we've talked about this a lot in the podcast, is that costs of living have gone up so much that I would venture that there is a higher percentage of people in portfolios that are now on food assistance of some kind to be able to make ends meet.
Maybe.
Because it's just more expensive, or they're relying on things outside of what they relied on when they got the loan. Because it's been a struggle for a lot of people.
And that's true. And I think obviously the SNAP thing is a hot button thing. People are really focused on it. But I think what I'm looking forward to getting to is if you back up and take the wide view on this.
Yes.
And you just say, this is a setback.
Yeah.
right? This customer is facing a financial setback. And so now the question becomes, how are we going to approach that? And I shared with our group last night, and I will, if I get a chance to participate in that clubhouse tomorrow, we can talk about it over there as well. But it's like, I meet dealers who, and I shared the story, I think in our podcast recently, about a dealer that I worked with. I'm reminded several years ago, who just had been many years in retail. They started the buy here, pay here side with some support from us. And I remember having a conversation with the dealer many months in, was like, I don't understand why these customers can't just get their payment in here. I have to make my payments everywhere. And I thought, this is somebody who's always had money, who's never not had the money to meet their obligations and pay their bills and maintain a high credit score. So they can't relate. That dealer could not relate. And so the takeaway for me was, and I think I said it to that dealer that day, is, look, if that's the expectation you have of this customer that you're serving in subprime, then maybe this is not the right business for you, because you're going to have a series of frustrations day after day, week after week. And so maybe this is not. And I was reminded that same thing when I read that thread, and I heard some of the people chiming in with the attitude is, they just need to make the dang payment. It's like, or
why weren't they planning ahead? And I'm just like, we already know from talking lots and lots of dealers. I mean, the conversations with dealers that we've known for a very long time is that most of our customer base are like, they have to stretch $1.
Yeah.
And that dollar isn't going as far as it used to. So, I mean, so a lot of them are taking second or third jobs to be able to just cover what they normally have and not cover for the future.
Right.
Because most of them, most of our customers don't have the bandwidth to be able to prepare for a setback. We know this because their car breaks down and it's like, well, I can make the car payment or I can fix the car.
Right.
What do you want me to do? Because it's yes, it could be some of it education, but some of it is just the circumstance. It's the situation.
Yeah. So I think we can get into this, as has been our practice in the podcast lately, we ran a lot of this stuff through ChatGPT, and ChatGPT almost invariably finds elements. It suggests elements that I hadn't really contemplated myself in the scope of the subject matter.
Yeah.
And of course, in our particular case, our agents, our whether it's a voice agent or we use a voice and text, but they have a good depth of understanding of White Hat Way as a mission and all the principles that go into White Hat Way. And so it sweeps that, it knows that framework as it does this. So let's go through the points. We can just start with the first one. And so kind of talk about this first one. I'm going to put it on the screen.
So the short game. Just get the payment in versus the long game, build a relationship.
Yeah. So this is about the relationship part of it. And one of our dealers in the meeting last night said, because I want the payment, not the car. Okay. You can think about that. It's like, I don't want
Brent
the
Carmichael's
car.
been teaching that.
Yeah. So it's like, if you just think about that part alone, you want the payment. Well, you'd like to have the payment today, but if that's not possible and we don't want the car and we want to maintain the relationship with the customer, then what's that look like? Because when we take the position, just get the payment in, like get the payment in by 5 o'clock or else. We got to, the other day it was a fly. Today it's a mosquito. So you'll see it land on my forehead.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
If we just get the payment.
Yeah. So it's a short-term mindset versus long game, right? So this is really what White Hat Way talks about a lot. We talk about that when you approach this business with a long game mindset, then what I'm really suggesting is this whole SNAP thing that people are worked up about. It begs the question. What percentage of your customers are not going to be able to pay in the first 10 days of November? I've just asked that question first. And then is that the difference between being in business and not being in business? And then a follow-up to that same question would be, can you do what Ken Shilson has proposed? Is if your charge-offs double, are you still in business? And so you have to ask yourself, can I financially afford to take this posture where you get the payment in or else, or we're repossessing the car and it's not my problem that the government didn't pay you. It's, so I'm picking up the car. Well, you can take that position, but I think it becomes a question of profitability and sustainability. And really it's kind of one of the other things we'll talk about is some other versions of ROI here that we need to be prepared for and contemplate in making these decisions. Because what I would say is this SNAP thing is the setback of the day, but there will be other setbacks. And if we step into a business relationship with a customer who's a little stretched on income, they're in a subprime, credit segment to begin with. We know a lot of things about them, how they manage money and and I would say the support that they typically require. And so if we're not going to be prepared to offer that support and some degree of handholding, and we're just going to say, get the payment in, then I think we can expect a lot of charge-offs. I think we can expect a lot of frustration and stress. And I just think for a lot of folks, I would say maybe this business is not the right business for them if they can't roll with the customer and the punches.
Amen.
Okay?
Amen to that. And I know when we've put new dealers into business, and it's been a split thing when we talk to them about their why, and because that is part of the process when we would put when we would help a new dealer. It was kind of like a 50-50 on some where it was like, I've been in that situation and I have compassion for the customer and I want to be able to help people to get through a tough patch, just like I had someone help me get through a tough patch. And then there are those that said, I've heard you can make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And both can be true.
Sure.
That's the thing, is that both can be true. The making a lot of money is it's this whole question is it a short-term thing or is it a long-term thing?
Amen.
Because when you can look at it, pull yourself back, short game, long game, when you can, the 10,000 foot view, it's like there is so much more wealth, not just in fiat, not just in money, but wealth in having equity with your community, and like the security of having a business that will withstand the things that we see coming and that we're experiencing right now. And that are you in the business to make a lot of money? And so those are flash in the pan. Only if you're only in the business to make a lot of money. If you're in the business to help people and
build a sustainable business
that
will produce
then
profits and cash flow for a very long time.
Then you're at the right place.
Yeah. So let's go on to this next one. It's quite similar.
Yes.
It just says when dealers expect customers to figure it out, then everybody loses. And I would say that's going to be the dealer and the customer that's really what we're referring to here. Both can lose in that situation when we say it's on you. Now, listen, there's accountability, and we'll talk more about accountability soon. But of course, we need to hold customers accountable to doing their part. It's just that when I say their part, that suggests that there's a part for us too. And so this starts to become this idea that, I talked about recently that I wrote an article some time ago called "Somebody Messed Up." This was years ago. It's like, we always need to know, was it us that messed up or was it the customer who messed up? And in this case, our policies are going to be tested here. Like, and our whole approach to business and those philosophies and policies that we draft around that are going to really be tested if in fact those checks don't come, and depending on how long that strings out, and how we work with those customers or not work with those customers is going to really determine what next month and next year look like. Right. So these are, I think this is a way for us to begin to really break down and dig into philosophy and approach.
Yeah. And we also know already that so many of our customer base, I mean, there are some that have hit a really hard stretch. And so they've understood economics and budgeting and things like that from, because they've lived that. And right now they're in a hard stretch. And then we have another segment of our customer base that did not learn these things. They stopped teaching this stuff in school a long time ago. Right. And so there's a lot of people that are our customers that don't understand how to plan for the future. They just, it's not something that they were taught or that they've ever felt like they had the bandwidth to. It's a mindset to had the bandwidth to be able to actually do.
Right. So moving to this next one, this idea of the myth of tough love. So obviously tough love is kind of what we're talking about here when we want the customer to just figure it out, and we're going to choose not to show any empathy. We're going to let the customer figure their own stuff out. We're going to hold them accountable to getting that payment in. And if they don't, then they're going to face whatever the consequences are.
Yeah.
And when we take that approach, I think what we know can happen is, some customers are going to figure it out. Some are going to get the payment in by 6 o'clock on Friday. I think more customers are going to tell you they'll try to figure it out. They're going to do what they can. But in reality, I say about our customers in this buy here, pay here segment, which also everything we talk about here extends to the lease here, pay here side too.
Yeah.
It's the same basic thing. But I say about those customers that many of them do not know how to solve their own problems.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. It's kind
just
of
what is.
It's kind of a byproduct of the business. And I feel like when we choose to get in it, and this is something I certainly talk to dealers about who are contemplating getting into the buy here, pay here business, is like anticipate a degree of handholding. And it can be frustrating that the customer doesn't know how to do something about their own car insurance, or, on and on and on. They're going to require some support. And this tough love element, when we just say, figure it out.
I see. And I have a little bit of friction around that. I think that the attitude of figure it out is not loving.
Yeah.
It's like, figure it out. You just figure it out. And that it's been deemed tough love. But you can't have tough love until you've taught them the skills they need to be able to weather the storm.
Amen.
And so if we haven't taught them anything, it's not tough love.
Yeah.
It's heartless action.
Yeah. Good. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's fair, because I've said the same thing more in the context of people that you hire. Is like, we can't expect people to know how to do something we've never taught them to do.
Exactly.
And we want to go in there and hold them accountable to something we've never really taught them to do. And so this customer that we serve in the buy here, pay here segment is often in that situation. They don't know how to solve their own problems. They've never been taught some of these things that will come up. And sometimes that's true about mechanical stuff. It's true about insurance, and on and on and on. It's like, there's so many things. And so when we push them away and say, figure that stuff out, and we kind of take this tough love position, then I think we could expect a lot of repos. I always say, if we're not prepared to support our customers through a very long journey, like this is a customer who's going to be with us for 3 years, and we hope they're going to be with us for 10 years, and we hope they're going to be referring friends and family. And so if we really expect that, if that is our approach in this business, and that's the kind of business we want to build, and I would say the smaller the community, the more important this approach can be in terms of serving long-term interest. And so I think this is why, we advocate for having the personnel to be able to support this customer. We're taking steps to be able to support that customer to some degree through AI personas and some actual customer advocacy. So there's some things that are being done in that way. And I want to pause for a minute and explain that our customer journey, or our buy here, pay here journey, which will be both customers and dealers, that track is going to be hosted and co-hosted, I guess you could say, by our AI voice persona, Sage. She and I will co-host that, and we will bring folks to this conversation about the journey for both the dealer and the customer. And obviously they're intermingled, right? They're intertwined all along the way, like it or not, unless we just sever that relationship because we, out of frustration or, hard policies, then, then this is where we're going to have a long journey in this business relationship with this customer, if we're prepared, if we sign up for that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're signing up for when we agree to get in this business.
Fahad, thanks for piping it, or contributing. Says providing a direction to figure it out can help. In the instance of a mechanical issue, providing a list of vendors we have vetted tends to work better in the long run.
Right. Yeah, no, that's true. That's the exact example of a step we're giving people sources. I would say, we've gone a step further, and a lot of the dealers we've worked with, and in my own experience as a dealer, we would we didn't want to refer to some particular mechanic, because then you kind of in cahoots, and if it doesn't go well, you're sort of in it with them. So it'd be better to give the customer the list and what you're talking about. But there have been plenty of times that among the ways you could help a customer would be to save them some money on parts. I mean, we can get money on parts better, and if we can pass that along to a customer, I can give you a list of example after example of things that I would love for our collection team and collection supervisors to have at their disposal as far as resources and ways to support customer. But that's really up to us to listen and understand what the customer needs, and then of course understand what the resources are and the options that are available. But I think we want to be prepared to lean in. We're certainly advocating White Hat Way to lean in with the customer, but in order to do any of those things, we have to be able to communicate with the customer, which means we have to have some sort of relationship with the customer there where they will talk to us. And so this is kind of thing we talked about in the past about an open door policy at closing. And you mentioned underwriting early on. I would say today's conversation really shouldn't be about underwriting, because the deal's already underwritten. We're talking about the customers in the thing with us now. Are we going to save it or not?
That's where I absolutely agree, is that, some of the comments on this stream where, that was an underwriting question. It's like, when you underwrote these loans, the circumstances could be incredibly different right now for your customer base. And I do want to kind of go back to that first one where, Fahad mentioned, helping with lists of all of that. One of the things I really appreciated from reading this stream, and it was just like, for me, all hearts, thumbs up, is and it ties into this, we have to communicate with our customers, is that we have resources and solutions, ideas ready to be able to, we've loaded the lip of our collectors and those that are talking to our customers. It's like, how can we help? It's not just about, making sure that all the information is correct and then how much can you pay today, but it's about, all right, we know that it's tough. Here are some things that might be able to help with other things that we know your money are going to, or whatever, so that we can work together to make all of the things, things work. So, and so I loved where it was, one of the dealers was talking about how their collection team has already put a list of, here are places that can help with food, because it's food is with that SNAP benefits. That's the thing right now, is just food. How can we help with food? And I've been watching a lot of, other outside of our industry about, how can we recognize this problem is affecting us deeply because of our customer base, but this problem is also affecting us in general in the country, about how do we support, because we, for the most case in this thing, is it's not just about a car payment, but it's about how do we help people through a really, really rough situation. So good. The next thing we were talking about was a real ROI of caring. And it's like, is there an ROI to caring? What would that ROI be?
Well, when you look at things like, what is the value? Like if we really take time to listen to our customers, we invest a few extra minutes and we build trust, we show compassion. That's how we build trust, is by showing compassion and empathy for what's going on with them. Doesn't mean we give them everything they ask for, but we listen first. We build that relationship and that equity. So now, how does that pay off for us? Well, some of these things are going to be pretty measurable, others less so. But like your repeat business, right? If I can support that customer and listen to them and work with them, and they're going to repeat with me, then that is going to be one way that we can measure our repeat business and how that pays off for us, and why that customer chose to repeat with us. Referral business would be the same, right? We really want to be able to measure, and this is really a good indication in dealerships, is how well they adapt a long game approach, is that their success in repeat and referral business. And then the last one for me would be reputation, but that's a little less measurable. We can certainly speculate that our reputation in the industry, whether that's on our Google reviews or whether it's in the coworker break room, It's like where our reputation shows up is there's going to be ROI associated with that. It's harder to measure. It's harder for us to know how it's paying off. But again, I would say in smaller markets, this becomes even more amplified. And this is why we believe that it's time well spent. It's time well invested to just take time and listen to the customer, make sure we understand what's going on with them, and then we can step forward with whatever the solution is. But we first have to understand the real problem.
Yeah.
And that just means listening, and that means investing time. And guess what? If you're tracking your collectors' calls, they might spend an extra, 3 minutes on a call. That may be a part of what has to be invested here in order to have a chance to really get to the bottom of what's happening with the customer and have a chance to gain some ROI around caring.
Yeah. And, one of the things we were talking about last night as we were discussing this topic was, we were frequently encouraging dealers we have been for, a long time, is like create that relationship. It's the impetus is on us.
Yeah.
To create the relationship, not on them. It's on us. And how you do that is by opening dialogue. And I remember a long time ago, that was the first Buy Here Payer United, when we were talking about how is Buy Here Payer like a chicken sandwich. And one of the questions that came up, they said in the age of automatic withdrawal from your bank accounts, we don't see people. So how do we do that? And it's like, that's on us. It's like, it's not on them.
Sure.
Where before that it was on them. They were coming in and they were doing the thing. And so it made our job easier. Well, now that's no longer a thing. So how do we make that job easier with staying connected?
Sure.
And one of the things we were talking about last night is if we could encourage every dealer out there to put together an email, have ChatGPT help you with it.
Sure.
Put together an email that's going to go out to all of your customers and say, hey, we're aware of the stuff, and we just want you to know that you can always come in and talk to us.
Right.
And we're here to help. And so this is this speed bump along the way of our journey is something we can both work together to get over.
Right.
So if there's something happening, don't hesitate to reach out, because we're here to help in any way we can.
Yeah, and I think you can also be proactive in this case by showing that you care, which is also going to cement your reputation. If I went to the community, and that includes my existing customers, so if I have a portfolio of 200 customers and only 40 to 50 of them might be affected by this missing check, then the other 150, I can just extend the offer to them to say, hey, we're doing a food drive. For every sack of groceries that you bring in, we'll offer you, if you're our customer, we'll offer you a $25 payment voucher. You can use it against your account anytime, or whatever the number is. I can create a food drive where I can have groceries available to my customers who are in need. And I can extend that offer to my customers who would also appreciate seeing that we're stepping out there in that way.
And this is it's a really great opportunity for our industry to partner in some way with local food banks or other organizations that are helping. And this kind of goes back to that thing that I was talking about, where this is a culture. It's like this is happening not just in Buy Here, Pay Here, but it's happening across the board. And so one of the things I was looking at, a relative of mine posted about churches. Now it's like, can churches pick up the slack? And they can't on their own. They require community support in order to be able to do that. And so, I'm like, this is such a great opportunity for us to come together as a community and help support each other. And so we're just one aspect. Buy Here, Pay Here is just one aspect of a community that are of those that are unbankable, downtrodden, whatever we're one element within that. And that we have an opportunity to not just to send that email, but to reach out to those organizations, whether it be a church or a food bank or whatever. And it's like, what can we do to help? How can we help support? Can we do the food drive? Can we like combine efforts and help with that? I've seen where some dealers that we've worked with, and I just applaud them, at Thanksgiving they combine efforts with food banks, and then they're helping with getting Thanksgiving dinner out to more and more people. So that's another way of being able to just really step in.
And I would say this ROI thing is like, look, we're again, I can't say it enough. This is the current setback, but most customers are in a 3-year contract. Obviously, there are varying stages of those contracts in the portfolio, but the reality is this is the setback of the day. There will be others. So next month, everything that we're talking about here also applies. This is a percentage of your customers not getting a check, but what about next month when it's a mechanical problem or it's a job change or somebody's sick in the family? Like these things still apply. It's like, how are we managing setbacks? And did we expect that when setbacks happen, that's on the customer, right? We've covered that.
Yeah. Well, it's the next point was setbacks are not red flags. They're relationship tests. And this is true on the microcosm and the macrocosm. I mean, in a relationship with your children or a spouse or a business partner or whatever, when setbacks come, it's like, what are you willing to step in or push away? Run away. And to me, we were talking about this last night, this is a beautiful time for dealers to step in, and get off of the other side of the table and scoot your chair around to the same side of the table and say, okay,
I'm in this with you.
Yeah. What can we do to help? Because
guess what, Mr. Dealer, you are in that with them. So it's how you react to it, right? So let me read exactly the way that ChatGPT spoke to this thing about the red flag. So a late payment isn't the end of the story. It's the middle of one. Dealers who handle setbacks with patience and guidance prove their brand's integrity when it matters most. And that's when customers remember it most.
Amen.
I mean, I just don't know how you could say that any more succinctly. It's like, this is why we think that it tests the relationship. It shows your mettle and your a lot about your business philosophy and approach in difficult times. How are you going to show up for your customers? And the customers are going to remember that. And so when it's time to repeat, when it's time to refer, certainly when they have to buy another car, when their SNAP money does finally come in, they have to go find another car, they're probably not going to be back to do business with you. So it's a really question of, if we handle those things in the wrong way. So, it's really begs the question is, what does it mean for us financially if we don't collect these payments in November? What does it mean for us financially? Or does it, can we keep the lights on or
that's
not?
a whole nother side topic thing that I'm hoping that we can just touch on briefly before we're done today. But the next one is from repossession to repositioning. Short game dealers repossess cars.
Long game dealers reposition customers. So they ask, how do we get you back on track instead of when can you pay? Okay. So this is, it says this, the reframing changes the entire energy of the conversation. So that's important. And the customers perceive that. And we don't give them enough credit for that part. Do they struggle in other parts of their life? Certainly, but they recognize when we're working with them.
And I wanna just read that and now listen to this, because they're basically saying the same thing. Is how do we get you back on track? And when can you pay? They're saying the same basic thing. One of them is a wall. The other is we're a team. And when a customer hits a hard patch, it's time to be a team player. It just really is. It's time to step in as a team and work with them. So next one. White Hat Way is a business strategy. We just when White Hat Way was formulated, when it was like conceptualized, and then and it was just a way to be able to create an identity around a philosophy and a way of approaching business. And so White Hat Way is the name. but it's like the white hat way is all of these things, sitting on the same side of the table, being in this is a partnership in a business dealing. It's like we're here to work with you.
It's prioritizing relationship over transaction.
Exactly. Okay. And so we ask dealers that we work with all the time, what is your strategy? What is your vision of, and this becomes really a differentiation. People ask us all the time, hey, can you guys do collections training? And collections is like, this is the backbone of the entire business. And so if you don't have kindness as part of your backbone, I don't know that we can help you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just because it's a philosophy and it's a business strategy of this isn't us against them. This is a we.
And let me just share that yesterday I had a meeting with a prominent lender in our industry. We don't need to say who, but I can say that I was able to share with them because we referred to this same Facebook thread, and they had seen it. And they were also alarmed by some of the things that they read. So again, this is a lender who would be your capital provider if you're looking to grow. And they were alarmed by the same things in terms of what was emphasized, the disparity between, some of the comments versus the others, relational versus transactional and sustainable.
In a way, I don't have a problem saying who it is, because
I don't think it's important here, but it doesn't. I think what the main thing to understand is that when you're a lender who does factor in character, okay, then you recognize that when they see these threads, and they also, from the white hat way perspective, they understand that the things that we talk about here are difference makers, and they obviously want to do business with people that are in it for the long game, right? They want to have a business relationship themselves with a dealer who's going to be around.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so this is why it's important to them. And the sustainability fact is, it's one thing to be profitable. It's another thing to be profitable, build relationship equity in a community, and have a business be around for decades.
So you brought in capital, and that was the stream that I wanted to just touch on briefly.
Okay.
And this kind of goes back to a year ago, and we talked about this where not only right now are our customers feeling a huge pinch. Our dealers are feeling a huge pinch, and it's like we really need to, this whole stepping back. It's like, where are we asking for grace?
Right.
Where are we asking for grace? Because with our lenders, we're asking for grace. And what's the best way to be able to what's the best foundation to be able to ask for that grace? It's communication and relationship. And if we are being honest with our lenders, and we're asking our consumers to be honest with us, and that we have an open line of communication, we're not ghosting, because that's one of the things that people complain about. Dealers complain, we are being ghosted. We talked about this last week. We're being ghosted by our customers. Are we ghosting our lenders? It's keeping this an open dialogue, an open communication, and asking for grace. And so we really, as dealers, we stand in the middle of something that it can just be, it's kind of, I think, karma. When we are offering grace in a smart way, because you're not giving away the boat, but we're offering grace. Let's figure this out. And that we are communicating with our lenders, and that there is a level of that grace, just kind of we create our own experience, and it'll spread out both ways. And if we're holding the line, and it's like, I want the payment or I want the car back, then how can we expect our lenders to offer us any grace?
Good point. Yep.
And so it's really, I see we're talking about the last point on there is the journey ahead and choosing which road we choose to travel. I'm of a mindset that there is a lot that's happening in our country, in the world, all of that, and that this is just one of the things that is going to be coming up that tests us as to whether or not we care about our fellow men, and or that we're only caring about our pocketbook. And again, you can be kind and loving and compassionate and full of grace and still make a lot of money. You just may not make as much for the short term while we're all working together to get through this thing. But on the end of the thing, you have created a foundation in your community and in your business that will be stronger in the long run. It will weather other storms. And so what kind of energy, what kind of mindset do we want to bring to our business today? And not just today, but it's like, how do we want to approach this? Because gosh darn it, if everyone is feeling this and you're of the mindset, take the car back, you're going to have a very full lot of repos. And
with some, that's part of a strategy. Some, that's the strategy they choose. I think for this one, where we wrap up on this idea of the journey ahead, we're going to choose which road to travel. I think the first thing we have to acknowledge is, do we accept that it is a journey? Yeah. Like, do we accept that this is a long, ongoing journey that we're on? It's like the old thing about, the journey versus the destination. Yeah. Of course, the destination matters here in that we are all focused on an outcome that we're looking for with the customer, which to me is they're going to repeat, they're going to buy from me again and again for decades, and they're going to refer friends and family. That's the model that I would be choosing to adopt if I were in business. That's what we were going to teach with White Hat Way. So if that's the journey, that's the outcome that I'm looking for, and I accept that the journey is ongoing. And if I bring a neighborly approach, this is a White Hat Way element. Like, if I'm bringing a neighborly approach, and I regard these folks as my customer base, as being my neighbors, and I want to support them. Yeah. And yes, they're at a different place in life than I might be as a dealer or others may be, but they're going to be the lifeblood of my business. And in addition to the lifetime value of the customer, like the financial value, I'm saying the lifetime customer equity value, the value of that relationship, is the part that is harder to measure. But I would say there's real ROI in that. There is real benefit in adopting that strategy. And there's a lot less stress and frustration. Oh, yeah. When we're neighborly and we're supportive and we can work through things and we expect things to happen and we're prepared to step in and support customers through that stuff. And that's just, to me, that's just the nature of this business. And I think folks who don't see that are set up for a lot of charge-offs, a lot of frustration. And I would just say, maybe another business makes more sense for those folks, because it's just it's a frustrating way to do business if you're not prepared to cooperate and work with your customers. So.
And I was just thinking as you were saying that, are we a day trader or are we an investor? Good. Because a day trader, it's volatile. Yeah. And it's, it's a high level of stress if what you're doing is day trading. But if you're investing, that's a different mindset in that. Are we just burning through? Right. Or are we like we're playing the long game in this?
Over the ups and downs. Yep.
Yeah. Send an email, ask ChatGPT to help you write a compassionate email of like, we understand what's going on and we are here, and that just talk to us. Yeah. If there's something that's happening, talk to us. Yeah. And in some get your collectors armed with tools to be able to help.
Make sure they're authorized to be able to do what can be done.
Absolutely. We've talked about that quite a bit
Yeah.
too. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining. Happy Whitehead Wednesday. We will see you all on Friday. We might be on the road. I don't know. We'll see if we get everything done and we might be in between homes.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. Thanks again so much. And we will see you guys on Friday.